Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Clayton. Today we're going to do a spring tour of everything that I'm growing. So let's get started. In the front we've got a large pot with a Badajohn sesame eggplant, a couple of peppers here. Got sweet Belize habanero with golden finger, some ají caballero, more golden finger, and then like lavender and a couple of decorative flowers. And then here we've got the peach tree. I posted about that a couple of times on Instagram, and look at this. That is awesome. It is filled with fruit right now and I am excited. I'm actually, you can see right here, I'm going to have to thin that because there's too many peaches on one branch, and that can actually make it so all of the peaches are too small. So like that right there, you know, I like those two. I'll take these two off so these two can get bigger. Oh, maybe three. We'll see how it goes later, but some of the super small ones I take off just to let the big ones grow. And I'm not being too aggressive with it, but I just like to watch and see, like, look at this branch. It is loaded with peaches right now, all the way up. But I've got some yarrow that's going to be flowering soon. A great accumulator of nutrients that I can cut and come again. A small apple tree that I've been pruning to kind of split like that. I'll have to do a little bit of pruning, but right now it looks pretty good. Then we've got our Chicago hardy fig that is coming back. We didn't have a very cold winter, so I knew it was definitely going to come back. But they almost always die down to the ground here in Zone 5B. You can see tons of new growth coming up. We should get a few figs. We only got 3 last year and they didn't completely ripen. More yarrow here. Got some mint, some thyme, a couple of different herbs to attract pollinators, and then clover for some nitrogen and just some good looks. My mom mowed these circles and I think they look pretty cool there on the trees. Let's see, got coneflowers, and there's some bronze fennel right there. On either side of our arbor we have the trumpet vines that we just got, and hopefully next time I make a video you'll see trumpet vines going all the way over this trellis. Now this one here is really cool. This is a Poncitrus, which is a cold hardy citrus, or I think they call it bitter orange. Yeah, bitter orange. This has made it through the winter so far, well, it made it through the winter. I've got another one on the other side of the driveway, and all of this branching is brand new. So I'm excited about that. I've also got some maypop that is, here's a little sign I wrote, but it's this tiny little stick right there, and you can see that, whoop, there we go, that little bit of green is a new growth. So I'll have it go up this trellis for now, and then it might have to go across this entire brick wall because there's another maypop planted over on that trellis too. And now here is our second bitter orange. It's much smaller because it didn't receive any water last year, so I wanted to see how hardy it was. This is a very dry area, and it's smaller, but it's still doing great. This straw is the only stuff that I use to protect it over the winter. Some flowers, lilies, and roses, and various things. Ooh, here we go. This is a red yarrow, and it's just about to open up. Pretty exciting. I planted a milkweed here last year, so I'm glad to see this coming back up. This is my rain barrel setup, and it's actually a drip irrigation. So if you can see back there, when I turn that on, it waters all of my tomatoes. And every tomato you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I've got 8 different varieties of tomatoes. So this one's German pink, but here you can see that is the hole for my drip irrigation, and when I turn it on, it's actually a little strong, so I put some grass in front of it just to keep it from hitting the actual plant. And I don't want too much grass around the stem because that can cause it to rot. But having all of this grass here makes it so the plant is more efficient. There's not as much evaporation coming from the soil, so this protects the soil from drying out, and it feeds a lot of life, puts more nitrogen back into the soil, and keeps our tomatoes happy. So yeah, like I said, German pink, Millefleur, which is a variety that makes tons and tons of flowers. Here we've got Helene, which is, I believe, from Hawaii. This is Blondekopfchen, which is a German variety. It's a yellow cherry tomato. Siberian, I believe that's a canning tomato. This is another German pink. Purple Russian, that's a slicer tomato. And Puerto Cortez. I'm super excited about this one because the story that came with this seed when I bought it was that it was brought to North America from Central America along the caravan of refugee people that were fleeing their home countries in San Jose and Nicaragua, in that area. And this is a very fast producing variety. It's one of the fastest. I believe they said 46 days to fruit. So it's, to me, it's really interesting to see the history, or to learn the history of how these varieties came about. And it seems to me it came out of necessity, because as you're moving, you don't have time to wait for your tomatoes, so you choose the ones that are the fastest growing, and you keep on selecting for the ones that are the fastest growing. And when you plant those seeds every year, you end up getting faster growing tomatoes. That's really cool. Some herbs, got chives and oregano, more tomatoes, Helene, Siberian, and this one was another Puerto Cortez. This is my favorite mint plant. This is a chocolate mint. I got this one from an Amish market in Pennsylvania near Hershey, and it is so much stronger than spearmint. I like it better than peppermint. I highly recommend chocolate mint. And here is a hops vine. This is a Cascade hops, and this is its second year, so just a little bit of growth, but I plan to have it go all the way up this post. It's about a 6-foot tall post. I might have to add more because they can definitely get much taller. These planters don't have much in them. Oh, there we go. These are all full of nasturtiums. I planted nasturtium seeds in them, so I hope to have nasturtiums cascading over the sides of the chimneys. Some lemon balm, great for mixed drinks. And then this is Agastache hyssop, which is a root beer flavored hyssop. The rain barrel setup. And then, I don't know this ground cover's name, but I love how it flowers. It attracts hummingbirds, bumblebees, and just look at how bright colored those are. And this area receives a lot of shade. We've got some sweet Sicily that I'm hoping once it spreads, I'll be able to use it for teas and, you know, make like a root beer kind of drink. I've got this mayapple, which for the first time you can see it's actually producing a fruit. I'm super excited about that. I love the taste of mayapples. And this is my Jack in the Pulpit. You can see it's a little damaged. We did have some hail, so when you see the other plants in the garden, please don't judge. The hail was pretty harsh. But also, This is the original Jack in the Pulpit from this year. I accidentally had a hay bale, or a straw bale, back here, and it encouraged the plant to sprout up a month early because it was so warm. I thought I was for sure, like, I totally thought it was dead, and this just popped up, and it's actually got 2 flowers. You can see another one back there. So I'm super excited. Love all those flowers. This is the pond. All of the wonderful goldfish that make the nutrients for my aquaponic system. I have this bonfire peach. It's a super dwarf that hopefully will make peaches. I picked all the peaches off this year so it can establish a good root system. We've got the grapevine with some rhubarb in the back. I've got Egyptian walking onions and then some regular onions. And I've scattered seeds of nasturtiums and a couple other things in here. Got the garlic. And then I've got this awesome bottle gourd, birdhouse gourd, that we've got some wrens in. So I mentioned the aquaponic system, and this is it. It's a roughly 6 foot by 4 foot bed filled about a foot deep, maybe 10 inches deep, with just pea gravel, and I've got a high diversity of greens in it. Here's a flowering scarlet kale from last year, hoping to get some seeds out of that. Cilantro, different like butterleaf lettuce mixes, you know, a couple of weeds because I leave this outside all year. The red ones are some more of this, which is a red mustard. I believe that might be dill. I gotta check on that. So maybe some fennel. I've got tatsoi, tons of different types of lettuce. This one here, if you can see, it's a little bit speckled. That's a speckled romaine from Fruition Seeds. Here I've got some dwarf corn varieties. I've got both Gasp flint corn and Morton flint corn, and I'm trying those out in containers, but also in the raised bed. I've got the Morton, a Navajo variety in the back. Let's see. Yeah, so here's the Morton, just come up. Here is the Navajo, which should stay under 3 foot as well. And then here is the Gasp. So the Gasp, Navajo, Morton. I've also transplanted in all of my peppers. Again, I said, you know, the storm with all of the hail really did a number. I'm hoping these guys recover. This is my favorite one so far, the Zipster Turkenspitz. It's a purple leaf. Oh, that looks so bad. I feel so bad for this plant, I'm sorry. Purple leaf, but also a dark purple pepper, high in anthocyanins. And it's from the Middle East. I believe it's from Syria. A couple of my pepper varieties are from Syria. But I've got, you know, South American, Central American, and Caribbean, the Ojo de Pixie, Landias Sweet Pickle, the Zipster Turkenspitz, the Paprika Feherosen, the Golden Finger. Let's see, what are you? Ají Caballero, Hascaria, the Belize Sweet Habanero, the Ancient Sweet Red Pepper, and then of course, you know, I've got these peas are a variety from Hawaii that I got when I had a layover there. Some perennial onions. I mixed up all of my cabbage, kale, and kohlrabi, so I think this is actually kohlrabi. I think a couple of these are kohlrabi. You can see a little bit of swelling right there. But this is definitely one of my cabbages. It's not really liking the full sun, but I'm going to see how it goes. This is a bald head mustard, which is from East Asia. I know of it from China, and it's a mustard that swells up at the stem just like a kohlrabi. So I'm excited to try that. I haven't tried it. You know, Swiss chard right there. I've put the seeds in for Tommy apple melon and Mountain Sweet Yellow watermelons and a couple other watermelons in the bed that I hope to have trailing off, and then I hope to have a big trellis come up the side and then over all the way to the tree. So we'll see if that happens. Oh, I'm super excited about that. I'm excited about everything, but this is a tree physalis. I have not grown this yet. This is my first time growing. I've got this one and a little volunteer that popped up over here. The other seeds that I started did not make it, but these are supposed to get like 8 foot tall, I believe, and hopefully that means it produces a lot of fruit. But if they don't produce fruit, I've also got the Ayacucho giant Cape gooseberry, this one right here, and then this is the goldenberry gigante, another ground cherry goldenberry, whatever you call it. I've got these 3 varieties of eggplants. Again, look at that hail damage. That is insane. I feel so bad for these plants. I put them out yesterday and then the hail happened a few hours later. I felt so bad. But this is the Chiyei. Here's the, if you want to read it, Chiyei, Chinese eggplant. And then the Waimanalo. This is a Hawaiian variety. Again, another one that I got when on my layover in Hawaii, coming back from Australia. The Badajan sesame, like the one that I have in the front. This one is much larger, but again, that hail damage. Here's a ton of other starts that I have to get in. I've got these American plums that I dug up, got some suckers and some seedlings from the nearby woods. Hopefully I'll be grafting a Louisa plum onto that. I'll keep you guys updated. And some beautiful, beautiful petunias from Baker Creek. I'm still filling up pots, transplanting some peppers and some eggplants. I actually use a combination of peat, regular topsoil, and then potting mix. I don't super like the potting mix, or the topsoil, but it's the cheapest option for the large amounts of soil that I use, and the organic options at my store are not the greatest. Okay, what else we got? Here's the compost tumbler setup. Just use that for some kitchen stuff. I've got some persimmons coming back that I had. Right under there is more persimmons. Let's see what else we have. False white indigo, some mint, some hyssop, mountain mint. This is a Mais Morado. I'm trying it out in the shade. And then the Chinese 5-spice berries, really small right now, but I'll get away from the AC unit so we can hear everything. I have this wood pile that I just keep here for the most part for wildlife, but if we ever do a fire, like a bonfire, we use a little bit, but not the rotting logs. This is a Japanese Fuki plant. It can spread like crazy, so I'm going to have to keep it well maintained, but it's a early spring plant that is commonly eaten, or at least it used to be commonly eaten in Japan. I know it's used in oh well, I wish I could remember where it's fried. I believe it can also be eaten steamed. Here we've got 2 different varieties of sunchokes. I got these both from Oikos Tree Crops, and this is the white Fusea, or Fuseu sunchoke. These ones all came up, they look incredible. This one is the Red Rover sunchoke, and one of them, well, I was gonna say one of them didn't come up, but actually look at that. They all came up. So I'm super excited to try both of these. The Red Rover is supposed to have a like piney taste, and then the white Fuseu I got because I feel like that's going to be the most palatable for everybody else in my family, more closer to a potato, like a buttered potato. I've had one variety, I don't know whatever it is they sell at the store, but I just boiled it and it tasted like a buttered potato already. It was delicious. Here's a compost setup. once this is filled, I begin turning it and let it heat up. But it, you know, I get grass in there, get leaves. I'm actually putting a lot of sticks in there because I don't have as many leaves as I'd like. I let this area go pretty wild, but I'm probably gonna have to tend it a little bit soon. But I have a little bit of mugwort and then some stinging nettle. It really doesn't sting me. This is just stuff that I dug up from a clump near my college, and it's still going strong. So I use it every once in a while for sprays or for teas. Here is some of those peas that I got from Glenorchy, New Zealand. I'm really excited to grow these. I'm thinking about crossing all of the pea varieties that I get from my travels and just calling it the like World Traveler pea or something like that. I think it'd be pretty cool. Purple cabbage, trying not to get the shade on it, but check this out. All of my cabbage that are getting like only partial sun are doing so good compared to the ones that are in full sun. I've got some daikon radishes, some just sown, like just scatter sown carrots. And when I mean scatter sown, I mean just, you know, shake the seeds like that and let them go. I'm really happy that they came up. This amount of sunlight might not produce the best size, but it's an experiment. We'll see what happens. And I've done the same thing with all of my radishes. So you might see not too many on this side. I got a couple more in rows on this side. And then more scattered carrots. This came up like crazy. You must get really, really good sun coming from that west at the end of the day. Whereas this side, actually, I got 3 all in one clump that are up on the top. None of the stuff on this slope that's, I guess it gets just a tiny bit less light. Maybe it doesn't heat up just enough, but nothing came up on that side. But that's okay. One rhubarb back there. These are some leeks that my sister brought from one of her jobs. More cabbage, volunteer garlic. Oh, and these, I believe they're squash. They came out of the compost, and I got a couple. Yeah, you can see, I did not plant those at all, so we'll see what happens. Sunflower came up voluntarily. In front of every bed, I have a white label, and those are different watermelon varieties, different squashes, different cantaloupes. Let's see, the Sama watermelon, again from Oikos Tree Crops. I'm super excited because that's the wild cousin of the watermelon. Not super sweet, but supposed to be really vigorous, so hopefully I'll cross those with my other watermelons and see what happens, or just let them do their thing. And I've got corn. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 or 10 varieties of corn, ranging from small blue corns to 2 different orange. I got bronze orange corn, and I think it's called Fellaini orange corn. And then I've got the, what do we call it? The Pioneer corn, and then, another diverse one. I'm sure I'll remember it. I've got it on a map, but I just don't have it with me right now. But again, right here is the Mais Morado. And I planted those up against this trellis because I think that once I get stuff trellised up on here, they'll hold on to the plants and keep them from getting blown. I transplanted some radish into pots just to hopefully get them to go to seed. And then you can see here I've got potatoes in these pots, and they're about half filled. And once these potatoes get taller, I'll fill that up with soil, because by planting my potatoes really low down in the pot, it actually encourages more growth. So when I fill this up, all the space between the original potato and the surface will be filled with new potatoes. But if I planted the potato really shallow, they wouldn't produce new potatoes underneath that old potato. So that's something to keep in mind. More potatoes. I got 2 different varieties. One's a purple and then one's a white. Some nasturtium. I want to say that's nasturtium. I gotta keep everything straight. bunches of potatoes actually. So every pot almost every pot you see, those are all potatoes. So hopefully we'll have lots. Some more of these petunias. Again, that hail did a real number on everything. I feel so bad. And then a Tulsi in the middle of my hanging pots. And then this A-frame here, I'm going to have asparagus pea, which is actually not related to peas, but looks kind of like a winged bean, going up here. Nothing is sprouted up there, so I'm hopeful. And then some cucamelons, the mouse melons. They're real small, taste like cucumber, a little sour. Have those. And that's pretty much it for now. So I'll have some sweet potatoes to plant like I had in my other video. And yeah, I'll keep everybody updated. So, bye.